Okay, so Neff, do you know anything about what's been going on here for the last week and the Lush One saga that has been unfolding?
Lush Gate.
Lush Gate. There you go.
Lush Gate.
Nah, I ain't been tapped in.
All right, so let me give you a little bit of a preliminary understanding, and we can figure out what exactly has been going on. So on Wednesday, I show up at the office. We have 2 pornographic films to be filmed and nothing else. No jumper content. Well, actually, the news was being created that day. So you had a couple people in here, but for the most part, only like 2 employees are here, and I'm just basically getting my on. And so at a certain point, the employees start coming over to me and start telling me, yo, there's like 30 Crips outside. And I'm very confused. Like, what? Like, who? Like, why? Why would there be any Crips here? We're not doing any kind of content like that today. They inform me Travis Ford is here. So that makes a little bit more sense because the last time that Travis Ford was here, he came with upwards of probably not 30 Crips, but maybe like and really the 30 is probably an exaggeration in general. But he was probably here with 15 Crips last time as well. And then he starts telling the employees that he was invited by the man of the hour, Lush One, who, as far as I could tell, had basically stayed up all night and was incommunicado. Well, you did respond to the group chat, so it's not like you were passed out, but you didn't seem as if you knew or remembered that you were supposed to be going to the office at the exact same time that these guys were here.
So he was looking for you.
Well, he had invited them, which we can get more in-depth into that. But basically, you then hop in your car. No, they're not fans. These are close associates of Lush. And so then you rush here and start engaging in a back and forth with them. Now, let's clear up some narratives just to start this off. Are you and Travis Ford smoking crack together?
No.
Have you consumed any amphetamines, any meth, any drugs in general? Please let us know, because a lot of people are speculating.
Don't hide your drugs, man. Ain't no
Check
reason.
this out.
A lot of people are speculating that might be the tie that binds in this situation.
There is no shame in my drug game. I'm very I keep it transparent at all times,
And
right?
didn't you mess up a drug test before you just came in here?
Man. So
he intentionally sabotaged his own drug test.
It was a mistrial. It was like Munchie B said.
A mistrial is a thing in court.
It was a mistrial. So what we have right here is a drug test.
You didn't answer the question. He said, "Do you smoke crack?"
With him.
No, I don't smoke crack.
Is y'all connected to crack?
I don't smoke crack. No, there's no crack.
Wait, this is a drug test.
Yes, that's a drug test.
But you didn't pee on it yet?
No, that's not been peed on yet.
Because he f***ed up the first one.
Because I was given no instructions. Motherfucker just said, go in there. I went in there. My dick was out. I said, y'all could see my dick piss, everything.
The instructions on the motherfucking package.
Even if you get high, you still should have lied.
I saw you pretend to take a drug.
You saw his dick?
No.
So you can't even confirm that he has a dick. It could be like a robotic cock.
Could be a mangina.
I can confirm to anybody that's willing to see it,
man,
the existence of my penis.
Okay. I don't doubt that you do have a penis.
And it's formidable at that.
I'm still on the Travis Ford thing.
Okay.
Because I think you're 100% wrong for rejecting those Crips who were knocking at your door. Because I didn't know the details.
Okay. Counter narrative.
No, this ain't no counter narrative. This is real.
Yeah, listen, we're not about to politic over here and talk about
games,
man.
About gangs?
It's not even about like a specific gang.
No, this ain't about gangs.
Like
this ain't about gangs.
This isn't really specific to any gang.
Well, there's...
okay, so what do you think I should have done?
Okay, so you told me when we were talking behind the scenes, they showed up, they had like a vehicle that was wrapped with like no jumper signage, and they brought gifts to you like to pay homage. Like, hey, listen, man, have you ever seen the movie King of New York?
No.
Okay, that's your problem. If you go, you need to immediately watch that movie so you could understand the very...
Nah, that's fire, though.
No, real talk.
They fuck with you, though.
One thing about Frank...
King of New York's a movie about gangs back in the day,
listen,
right?
no.
Yes.
No.
It's in the 80s.
That's Gangs of New York. See, you're wrong. King of New York is Frank White.
It's in the 80s.
Oh, King of New York.
Let me get this out so I can educate. Frank White was a drug dealer in New York. His whole crew was black, real killers, right?
Okay.
He was a clean-cut dude. But one thing about Frank White, that's why Biggie Smalls always reference, he's like, I'm the black Frank White. You heard that reference?
His name was Frank White.
Yeah.
Because Frank White was not afraid or nervous around his guys. As vicious as they was, as black as they were, as clean cut as he was, he walked in and he act like when in Rome, do as the Romans
They had
do,
synchronized
and they had a
dance
high
moves.
level of respect for him.
They had synchronized dances.
But with black people, some people can mistake respect for aggression, right?
Okay.
And that's what you did. They did. Black people don't even do shit like that. Pull up with rap vehicles and cakes and stuff. The fact that they did that was the 60 Crips giving you a high amount of respect. And what you did was
That wasn't no respect.
no. Listen, okay, name one person. Listen, I'm gonna speak on it as a dude from Long Beach and L.A. County. Name one. Name one white person who you've ever heard of a gang coming up,
No, I
bringing
didn't
them a
call it
cake,
like that, bro.
wrapping a
Niggas talking about
vehicle
that.
with that signage from your brand, right? That's a high show
to
of
be
respect.
fair, it wasn't a wrap. They actually had like monitors on the
All right,
side
brother.
of the vehicle. You
Hey.
out of here? All right.
I'll-
What happened? Eh? You just not into the gang talk?
Oh,
All right, Neff. Much respect,
All
player.
right, shit. That was a powerful appearance. I'm gonna hit you after this.
okay. Well, the thing is, just what you say, if it was the screens or whatever, honestly, in my life, I've never heard of any gang doing something like that. And if they bring that kind of like situation to your front door, clearly they respect you. Clearly they look at you as somebody who is important enough to do that for. So when you rejected them, it's kind of like not saying this is what you intended. It's kind of like a slap in the face. And what I would say is, if you're going to be this close to black gang culture, if you're going to talk about these people in the very real aspects of their life, you're going to have to get comfortable with things that are normal
So
in the black
you're
community.
saying that you think that I should allow people to basically show up whenever they want and sort of force their way into
Uh-huh.
my life, even if we don't have anything planned or anything scheduled. Fuck what I got going on in my
Uh-huh.
life. If you show up and you're in a gang, which obviously is like, 50,000 dudes in,
Right.
in LA, that I should just take them in, regardless of what I have going on. Come on in, and hey, if the J-Cat that sits next to me on this podcast is the one who invited them, fuck it. Come on in.
What you got
I think you could probably see why this is not really like a sustainable
Hey,
mentality.
Well,
no, pop
no.
up like that, bro.
What
It's like it's a business, bro. It ain't just like, you know what I'm saying?
listen, what I'm saying is this. That's black culture. Black folks pop up at each other's house unannounced. I would say that was them kind of welcoming you in. All
You
right.
wanna sit there?
I would say that's them kind of like, to me, that was a massive sign of respect. And even though it was not timely, I think that personally you should have let them in, because they came up here for you to kind of celebrate you. And it's like I said, watch King of New York. When someone's celebrating you, a good king accepts it, even if it does inconvenience him.
Okay.
Brandon,
That's like 48 laws of power type
Munchie,
shit.
No.
feel free to debunk this. Yeah, you go.
In Charles Ford words, he said the last time he's here, he messed up, so he came a little extra to compensate because he got caught trying to steal some merch.
Okay.
So and you can't pop up nowhere unannounced. You know what I'm saying? How come y'all's unannounced?
Sure.
And if that is
I don't care.
is that part of black culture? Because
Something like
that's
this.
my first time hearing that. Because this is my thing. That's part of like 1950s culture, pre-cell phone culture. Is like, yeah, I'm gonna pop up. Oh, I need a cup of sugar. I'm gonna go over to the neighbor's house and borrow something. This is 2025. Like, this is a podcast. We have a very strict schedule going on. We have security concerns. From my perspective, anybody popping up just really has me fucked up. Now, that being said, I feel like we got to default to Lush here to at least get a little bit more
Well, yeah.
context about why you were smoking crack with Travis Ford and that led to all this happening.
So Travis, I've known for a couple years. I'd interviewed him. I kind of thought that he might have potential in this space, considering like other former / current gang members that have transitioned to podcasting very successfully. For example, 4 Extra, Crit Mac, AD, T-Rail, Brick Baby, Munchie B, LA Icon,
Yeah, we
Lucky.
get
I
it,
can name several, right?
Yeah.
I figured he would be good in that vein. Snoopy Badass is like his BFF, and they're like Tom and Jerry. You feel me? So I figured, okay, Travis.
Snoopy and Munchie are like Tom and Jerry.
He the rat.
He's not even a mouse. It's a rat and or it's a cat and a mouse.
He's a rat. Mouse rat. He's a rat though.
All right, continue, Lush.
So Travis, obviously he got involved. He's at least peripherally involved in the Jay Reed scandal and all that because he's a part of Dosh Network. So I had brought him over to do an interview / the news. He wound up rolling a little bit deeper than expected. And a bunch of other random things happened during that interview. Moneybag Rose was hella faded, almost got into it with Snoopy Badass, who was simultaneously doing an interview on the other side of the office.
From my perspective, absolutely nothing happened in that scenario.
Almost.
Snoopy talked about it as if something happened. I feel like Snoopy might have said like one word to Moneybag Rose. There was no actual confrontation.
He
there
said he
at all.
caught him out for a fade. True or
Yeah,
not?
I mean, I was there. I don't think anything like that happened. You were probably out there too, right? Oh, yeah. And hey, I just want to send a big shout out. I got my Fashion Nova jeans on and I'm feeling great. Everybody, go to fashionnova.com and tap in so you can get like me. All right, continue.
So then I was like, after that, like Travis is the type of dude that sends a million text messages a day. I'm sure anyone that's been in communication with him in any capacity can attest to
I'm
that.
so glad he doesn't have my number. Shout out to Travis, but I'm glad you don't have my
Shouts to Travis, good dude, and he has good intentions. However, there's like a lot of communication. I had kind of wanted to bring him on back to the news because he said he wanted to come. So, I had agreed to let it, because here's the thing. I completely violated protocol. I was supposed to holler at the proper channels if I want to bring somebody. I didn't do that. I kind of figured, you know what, it's a light day. I might be able to sneak bro on the news. He's going to have a couple of his people with him. That was my thoughts. Wrong thoughts to have. Completely dumb. Adam had no clue that was even a thing whatsoever. But that's like exactly what had happened.
Did he pay you?
No.
There was been some suggestion, and even, okay, he had tons of dudes with him, right? And then I seen some of those dudes on a little interview clip or whatever where they were saying that they paid a booking fee.
Well, if
So
they
that,
paid
to
a
me,
booking fee,
I was very confused because I'm thinking either Travis was taxing some of the dudes that he was with, or maybe they all collectively paid you.
if they were going to pay me and I was going to run that play, which I never have, I would for sure make sure that it went through. I would for sure make sure that it went through. I could have easily set up that interview and made it happen if I had wanted to. It wasn't that deep. No, I've never done that, nor would I. But that's
I think Lush. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think Lush is like a little more tapped in with the culture of this whole culture. When he told him like, "Hey, just pull up," that's something that you say. And what I think
not in business,
but that's
not with like an actual business. Definitely not a podcast.
but-
Never heard of that in a podcast.
But one of the
sense.
appeals of your business is that it seems very like relaxed. It seems like
if
everyone,
anything, that's a problem that I think we need to be working against.
No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real with you. Everybody here thinks that everybody's friends, everybody's cool with each other and stuff like that. The question I would have for you is, what did you think was gonna happen?
I thought I was going to go to work, film pornographic movies, and that we were going to do the news, and then that was going to be it. And I didn't picture any like large armies of people showing up at the office.
So let me tell you how a black person in your position would have handled this.
Okay, but it's like you're using like black people as a shield to say like people who. Okay,
That's what you're dealing with.
It's not like they just popped up. They were led to believe that they were supposed to pop up because of Lush.
But what I'm doing is you are operating from your white mind and thinking. I'm giving you some perspective on how black people think.
They don't though. I don't think so. There's no way.
I work with Alex Alonso. He wouldn't have
No.
fucked with that.
I don't think Alex Alonso has the mass appeal like you. You are tapped in and accepted in black culture. You can say things about black people, talk about black people business, and not get total like super backlash about that, and people still show up. When you've been given that type of access, you are a familiar person, so people act familiar with you.
We could even just take me out of the equation, and we could take DJ Academics, a black man who interviews largely other black people. If you show up at Axe Studio without an invite, you are not going to be welcomed in. And nobody who tells him like, hey, Ack, you're black. Black people apparently don't tell you before they come to your workplace. You know what he's going to say? Fuck you. I'm working. I'm streaming. I'm doing whatever I got going. In all my years of watching Axe podcast and all my years of watching his streams, never have I ever seen people just pop up out of nowhere, and never has it ever been suggested that if they did, that like really, I think Ack would take it the same way that I take it, which is this is clearly a detriment to the business. This is really, it's potentially putting people in danger. Yes. And even beyond that, it's like we have multiple girls who are shooting nude content, having sex on camera, and even like that's happening in the Plug Talk room away from everybody. But then we also have a photo shoot type thing going on. We're filming Instagram reels against the backdrop out there. And in order for us to make these girls feel comfortable, you know what we need? We do not need a 30-man army hanging out in the office. That's going to make them feel weird. Almost certainly some percentage of those dudes are not going to know how to act, and it's going to make the girls feel weird. So if there is anyone who is partaking in this bizarro assumption that you have that like black people can just pop up, like apparently black people just have like an additional level of invite to any podcast, they can just come through. That's not how this actually works.
showing up
in
at
the real
JC's
world.
But
office.
this is the part you're omitting from your beautiful monologue. They were invited by this motherfucker.
And that's the problem.
And that's-
So
And
what
that's
we're-
why
so-
I have not blamed Travis Ford throughout all this.
So what I'm saying is, you're the boss. Your employee fucked up, but you hired him. You co-signed him. So when Travis Ford pull up like, yo, your employee told me it was cool for me to come. I'm just not gonna let you put that on some shit like, oh, all these gangsters showed up and they was unannounced. They wasn't unannounced. They were invited. He didn't tell you. That's a you and him issue.
That's why. He got
But I
suspended.
think you
I
could have
do
been.
agree with
wait,
you
but I
that-
believe you could have been a little bit more gracious as a damn business owner and a host. Yeah, there's naked girls. That's business. Unforeseen occurrences happen. Things happen. You could have been a little bit more diplomatic about it.
Man, f- them in that cake.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying
Like,
fuck
just don't-
them, but I
you
am
could have at
saying
least
that
brought bro in by himself. Like, hey, look, we got a lot going on in here. Let's do this next Saturday.
I could have gone outside and had, a 5-minute conversation with them, which may have helped to kind of smooth
That would have been
things
professional.
over. From my perspective, listen, I'm in here. I got a nut 2 different times on camera. I'm not really trying to take my mental space and dedicate some percentage of it to warding off people who are trying to show up without an invite. To me, this is a big part of why Lush doing that was so problematic. So can you describe the mentality that you were in when this took place? Like, would you say that you were in full cat mode, for lack of a better term?
I was trying to be. I think I was just trying to do the right thing. I was trying to be cool, and I realized it's fucking very ill-advised. I have enough self-awareness to realize that I don't like the fact that I put you in the position as to where you even have to hear shit like this. I don't like that because my objective, I know Jumper, is to add to the team and be good and be a good team player and all that. And I definitely took too much liberty and just fucked up by like even agreeing, because the thing is, Travis didn't have bad intentions and I didn't have bad intentions, but it wasn't like I just didn't go through the proper channels and it could have easily been avoided. I'm not gonna blame drug use for this. Like, I'll take a drug test to show that this ain't even got nothing to do with drugs. This is just like other deep-seated psychological issues I have, trying to do too much.
So you're saying that the way that you kind of just invited him was almost like the Glaze narrative, that you were like, you were incapable of like standing up for yourself to say no, or like, because that would kind of go against the whole glazing thing that many people have accused you of.
It's
A serial glazer.
in like its most base terms, yes, like 100%. But
That's big of you to admit that. Honestly.
yes, it's literally what it is. But it's you could say glazing, you could say people pleasing. Like, I'll just refer to what I learned about this phenomenon in recovery. So in recovery, and I don't want to go on too long of a tangent here, but the third step in recovery is made a conscious decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God. Well, then when you analyze that,
Who is the carrot god?
You said the care of God.
Oh, my bad.
You're funny.
No,
the broccolini horse and the carrot
Your
God.
atheist buddy has
Fucking-
abandoned you.
no, I
was
thought we
the-
were talking about the carrot god, like the bunny.
fucking funny.
The Easter bunny. Or, I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's Carrot Top, the comedian.
Oh, he could be for
he
sure
is
a
for
god.
sure the carrot god,
Yeah.
especially with all them roids. With that being said, I realize that when I do things for other people, it's not necessarily because I'm a good person and I'm genuinely altruistic, but I want people to have a perception of me as being a good dude. Oh, Lush did such a great thing. That was dope that Lush brought Travis forward and brought the main streets over. Now, like, we f- with him.
Mafia
That's cool.
Lush.
Mafia
We're
Lush.
gonna get to that too.
But it don't, like, regardless of what hood or who it is like, it don't even got to be anything to do with gangsters. It could be just, oh, now this old lady in my building with me because I went and got her coffee, and now that makes me so. There's a deep-seated psychological thing. If I'm being super, because I did take my time off to make amazing rap songs and to be self-reflexive and analytical, and so these are some of the things.
Hey,
that I
bro.
was,
Hey. So you don't like to disappoint people. You got your no button can't be broke, bro.
yeah.
Because even after what you saying something about a peer space, you still trying to make something happen.
He was
Yeah.
still, because they're talking about they spent this money on the cake, which I understand at that point you want to like make it up to them. It's not like they just drove there and they're only out gas money. They had a damn cake.
He offered to pay for the cake, right? You said
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did, but I mean, now that offer has been rescinded. There's no.
Let's get
offer is
into
off
that
the
too
table.
at a certain point. But okay, so this is my thing though, is that Tuesday, keep in mind the story with all the guys showing up was Wednesday. Tuesday, you were on the podcast. You were looking like your cheeks were a little sunken. You had the sunglasses on, which from my knowing you is sometimes indicative of you being on a seek one. You did have a black eye. You said that you had a fade at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that if you were out and about at 7 in the morning that you didn't sleep prior to that.
Nah.
And even beyond that, like when they called you out on the news, you start blaming it on Remo. And it kind of felt like you were like lying and like just sort of doing like whatever. It kind of felt like you were in the throes of addiction, which maybe not. I mean, you were slamming buzz balls at all, so it could just be an alcohol
I was
thing.
faded and I'd been up all night. Yeah, and me and the homie ran it in the morning, and like that was.
So you got up in the morning to run a fade at 7.
No, we had been up all night.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Oh, y'all was already together.
Yeah. We was posting on the block, and one of the homies was being really loud, and there's a specific neighbor, and she be calling the police on the homies, and one of the homies did something fucked up to where she live at. I ain't gonna get too specific. And while he was doing that,
Took a shit, didn't light a match.
type shit, I ain't gonna say too much. No, it wasn't nothing like that, but he was destroying shit.
This man said posted on the block like he's a 1980s drug dealer or something. Me and the homie. Hey,
Shout out Paul Wall posted up like a mailbox.
hey.
I mean, we was just in the cut, bro. It was nothing major.
But you have a need for acceptance. And in reality,
I don't have, and I realize this too, Brendan. I don't have a need for acceptance. I have a need for fulfillment.
fulfillment.
I don't
right.
care about acceptance.
Validation.
Also-
That's
No,
about validation.
As
No,
long as-
fulfillment internally.
I feel like you're looking at two different kind of white guys too, because like kind of the point that you're trying to make is that I seemingly have like very little need for acceptance.
No.
I'm eager to upset a bunch of people, whereas with him,
You eager?
he's actually lying in order to be more accepted, which is kind of different. I feel like you need to take a little bit from me, and I need to take a little bit from you. I should care more about what people think about me.
I think you are
Interesting theory.
I think you're misreading what I'm saying. Like you're mischaracterizing it. I think that we all have a need for acceptance and validation. That's why we do
Correct.
this. That's why this is done. We
Correct.
want people to like us. You just have a more comprehensive understanding of how to get that acceptance and turn it into a profit vehicle for yourself. Lush doesn't have that. If he did, he would be like a Grammy Award winning rapper by now. So what he does
I think there's other things that are keeping that from happening.
yeah, but what he does is he compensates for that by being kind of like a man of the people. I walk in the room, everybody knows me. Hey, bro, pull up. It's all good. I'm just saying there. I feel like you could have been like, hey, y'all pull all this shit in the parking lot. I'll be out when I'm done. I mean, they would have been cool with that. Black people love a backyard boogie. There was I'm just going to stand on this. There was a more diplomatic way to handle that.
That is true.
Immediately, as soon as Josh hits me up, I say, Travis, what the fuck is going on? What's up with this billboard? He's like, oh yeah. I was like, bro, get the billboard. He's like, I got you. The billboard's out of here. I was like, bro, you cannot, like, how deep are you about to be? He's like, oh, you feel me? It's like 15 or 20 of us. I was like, Travis, that's way too deep, bro. You got to get rid of everybody. You feel me? Like, it's supposed to be you and a few other people. He's like, I know, but they were +1 and a +1 brought they +1 and da. I'm like, Travis, here's the thing. We can figure this out, but what you got to do right now, there's a fucking bar about 0.8 miles away from here. Go to the bar and post up. You feel me? Post up there. I
Cops
gotta
would've
go.
been called again.
Get drunk. So you're telling a bunch of young black men to go get drunk at like noon?
No, I'm telling them to get off the fucking block in the middle of Burbank where the police is on the helmet already.
I never thought about the nearest bar.
There's a bar and grill like less than a mile away. I don't want to like dox us even more.
You already doxed. You told the city.
Yeah,
you said
well,
the city, but that's a poorly kept secret at this point. But
everyone knows we're in Burbank, but like we're not.
we could just not say it, but yeah.
Not the ones who didn't know.
Yeah.
All right. But they were like, here's the problem. Travis not only brought these guys, which is one thing, but he brought a bunch of guys that don't really know him like that. Like those dudes don't with him like that. He had no ability to control them. They didn't respect his word when he said leave for them to leave. He couldn't get them to leave. Now Travis knows I never would have aired that information out because we had this very tender conversation that night where I was like, you know what? My bad for misleading you.
Tender's crazy.
Very tender.
That's cool. Yeah.
Very tender conversation where I'm like,
Chicken
you know what?
tenders.
You know what? I put you in a bad situation. Like I did not have permission to bring you there. I should like that was fucked up that I did. And he's like, yeah, and I brought way too many people. And I was like, bro, like, why didn't y'all bounce? He's like, I tried. They wouldn't listen to me. Mafia.